Nibeaksiarluolulo teriganniaqalu subluaqaik aqavirum qingamigum.
Yeah, clearly he does like.
Subluaqaik aqavirum sillamum. Ilaaqataqtuaq sillamum.
Well.
Tipineraik saanganut nunaqqam.
I think this is the place. Finally, we have reached it.
Yeah. Shall we stop?
Do we want to see the inside?
Let's watch the inside.
Let's watch the inside of this one. So I really like it.
King Island, that's the one.
Yeah, King Island and also Northern Lights.
Big Diamond, Little Diamond, and King Island. And in those three islands are the stepping stones to get to America.
So King Island is this absolutely beautiful place off the coast of Alaska. And if you can imagine being on this really kind of rocky island that kind of shoots up from the water to these cliffs, and then all of a sudden you see these stilts, and then you look up and there are these houses.
They were built on the cliff up high because of the ice. Being an island in the Barents Sea, you have ice that's being pushed by the winds onto the island. So it's going to pile up 50, 60 feet high. Structures are still there today, and people have returned to King Island. It's a growing community as the people return back to their island.
When I was young, my mom, whenever the Northern Lights came out, she'd just whistle.
Boy, they come alive. Just keep whistling and that aurora will... Just like, you can almost hear it.
And then she explained to me a little bit later that those are children. And children who've passed away when they were children. You don't want to draw them in too much, is what she said. Because then they could play football with your head, play Eskimo football, and that's what they want to do. They're always playing, those children.
Don't play out without your hood on. If you don't have your hood on, the Aurora person is going to come down and chop your head off and play ball with your head.
It wasn't like they were trying to do bad, or it was like a scary story or anything like that. It was just, that's how it was. That's what it was.
But it's nice that's what they said about the hood, that they would play football with your head if you didn't have your hood on.
Yeah. And she's not wearing her hood.
For once. Yeah, she's not wearing the hood, and it's the kind of advice that parents need to persuade their children to stay warm.
Yes, of course.
And it's very nice.
Just wearing your hood is not cool.
No, come on, you
don't wear a hood outside.
So, that's some Eskimo swag.
Yeah. Hood on.
Tamna nunaqqiq inñitqingainniqseq. Tainnaptaaq pingabulugu ibeaqsiaqaluulluum aimaaqapiat.
Whoops.
That was awesome. We need to put a slapstick sound theme under this. It was a platform.
So we need to find all the fakes from this video and then make them one.
Yes.
Why don't you just stay down here and jump?
Why don't you just do the rope thing?
Yeah.
That was good. That as well.
No, she has to be up there to do the
rope thing.
She has to jump on it.
Fine.
You did it right the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would fall further and then I could
No, folks has to go and then up.
On the right.
And then up.
Bit more weight.
And then Luna has to go. The cooperation.
Oh.
Good.
Ja, der Luna. Kleiner der Luna.
I am climbing.
Higorayat kaumaktit kad nakket.
Come, Fox. I brought you an elevator.
So nice, the northern lights in the back.
Yeah. We just need to get to the part of the northern lights. Fox is too heavy apparently.
I think you have to crawl on the other side. No?
Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes it's just hard. The mechanics are not for the fox at least. Jumping thing and everything.
Higorayat
the spirits.
siyalahutin silamet. Iba halaksuk nalakanilay tyornik.
Alright.
Ah! Fox done got snatched.
He's not wearing his hood because he doesn't have any hoodie. And knows all that is. Drive's fault. I am the hood.
Higorayat siyalahutin silamet. Iba halaksuk nalakanilay tyornik.
I'm waiting because it'll come back up and we'll snatch it. It's like Everard's version of the blue hell. But then I already had that. Yeah.
I don't want them to play football with my head.
No, that's not smart.
Well, we could play this all day. Do we want to just...
Yeah,
this is a good moment to. Yes. Yeah. Actually,
That was a double
with this
snatch.
rate, we will be playing this all day.
Yeah.
So let's just switch back and let's have a little recap.
Let's recap what we learned today and what we can tell about Never Alone. So, go to the main menu.
How do I go to the main menu?
Just you press buttons and stuff. Yes. You press start.
Where's the...
So,
Wow, that's also going in. Come on, end it over. I'll point it out to you. Here, it's options. And there's,
Options is that start.
yeah, it is. It's start. It's start. In share select. Period. That's just
Period.
Yeah, alright. That's what
Do we should we ask our audience if they have any questions for us?
yeah, if the audience has any questions, can chip in always.
Yeah.
All day.
So, so what did we learn from? Well, first from Never Alone, and then from today.
And then from the previous. I think, so we can say that Never Alone is kind of, right now, the pioneering game on including heritage.
Well, indigenous heritage.
Yeah, in a video game.
How can we do this archaeologically? How can you adjust this for?
So okay, first then, what does it do? What does
Yeah.
Never Alone do? What makes it so stand out?
Yes. So that what it does do is that it includes actually people from there. It's not a game made by some developers who just had an interest in this kind of culture and they thought it would be a cool topic. But it's actually people from
Okay,
from
but
that
that's
place.
inclusivity. But in terms of storytelling,
In terms of storytelling, it's not really innovative.
well, I think it is really. Well, one of the things that I think is what it's really doing is it's multi-vocality in a video game, because we've been seeing there's this story that you're playing through, and then there's these people with all their personal experiences about their lives and how they relate to. And we haven't seen. Just check out the game and just go through all the cultural insights. It's just a documentary in itself. It's super good, and that's really sort of what's happening. All these voices coming together to basically create this. Probably the story was also multi-vocally sort of decided on. And then at the same time, what I also think that's really sort of the nice thing where this is not just sitting back and watching a story. You're actually playing through the story and you're actually engaging with it and making your own story while you go. So we're gonna have fun memories of them goofing around.
Yeah.
And this is going to be attached, is going to be interwoven with the story that we've actually been playing and those cultural insights that we've been shared. So I think that's really the thing. It's not only sitting back, like in a museum, you always have like the documentary, sort of the obligatory documentary before you come in. So it's just, you're really playing through it, you're really engaging with it on your own terms, making your own story. That's, I think, what Neveralone is doing in terms of story.
I think that's the essence, is that there's these different layers of story.
Yeah.
So you have the story that you're playing, which is based on this sort of mythological, there's a blizzard, you have to find the source and stop it. While you're doing that, you also have these sort of sub-stories, like with the evil man, or with the bola, or with the little people, and all these things. And then you have this whole other layer, which is like this documentary layer, which is kind of an oral history project in itself as well, in which they've spoken to all these various people, collected personal memories, personal stories, as well as stories about various cultural aspects. So you have all these different layers, and you can choose as player to what extent you interact with which story, which I think is quite interesting, because you can choose to just play through the game and skip all the cultural insights, but if you go through the cultural insights, you get a whole other experience.
You know, what I actually think is quite interesting is that, of course, multivocality, that was sort of in archaeology at least, that's most famous from the Chateauneuf site, and Ian Otter's project, and sort of his sort of pushing for inclusivity, multivocality, post-processual storytelling in archaeology. And that's really what's happening on that side as well. So you've got all these people engaging with their own diaries, and of course you've got the official story that the archaeologists tell, but and then you've got the sort of the alternative storylines that are going on there. So as a way, of course, it's not a game, but would that make a great game? I think Chateauneuf would make a great game like Neveralone, with all those sort of different a puzzle game or a building game, or I don't really, sort of the format in terms of the story that's there. It is really multivocal, and I think that's always one of the.
And that's a good way actually to kind of familiarize people and scientific arguments.
Yeah, exactly.
Puzzle out, scientific process of thinking to go through each story, and then you can also choose your own ending, because in the end
or your own beginning, as Chateauneuf is really the beginning of many things. But I think that, and then of course there's many archaeological sites that you can do in the Caribbean. Almost every site needs this multivocal perspective, although very few sites have it actually. And that's one of the things we're doing with Nexus 4092 with Bloody Point in St. Kitts, that thing that Jimmy Mons and
their perspectives.
They're really trying to sort of get it all together. Now, how cool would that be if you make that one step further, and you're not just watching the documentary, but you're actually engaging with those stories yourself?
Yeah.
That's to me is what.
Well, I think that's also the power with a game, rather than, say, if this was just the cultural insights as a movie. It's completely different if we just sit here and watch these cultural insights as one connected movie, and it's completely different if you're actually playing through it and being a part of it, and
wanting to know more, because you need to unlock those videos.
Yeah, you want to unlock those videos, and plus it actually really helps sort of to understand what you're doing, to watch the cultural insights as well.
Exactly, but they complement each other, because for instance, if you watch the video about like the bola, and then you're actually playing it and using it in various cases in the game, it's a different understanding of how it works. Also with the spirits, for instance, like if you just see the video, it doesn't really make you aware of it in the same way as if you play through it, which I think is something that is very powerful that you can do with video games. Is have this agency. Yeah.
So again, we go back to this holistic experience that the video game can provide you with the inclusion of like engagement, sound, vision, and you can pretty much, you know, have all your senses. Because there are subtle things as well, like sometimes your controller might vibrate if you play on the console, and that's also kind of intensifies the experience, the music that they use. So how can we combine kind of this?
Well, one of the things, of course, this is also, there's a lot of money in this production as well. So that's, for example, last time we were with the boys from Herald, the guys from Herald, they were one of their stretch goals. They made their goal. Yeah, they made some of the stretch goals, and they also got funded. So that's good news. Congrats to them if they're watching. I'm guessing they're watching now, but on YouTube or whatever. Congrats. But one of their stretch goals was adding voice. And I'm sure that, you know, sort of making their narrative even more interactive is probably be like one of the other stretch goals further down the road. But you need a lot of money for this sort of stuff. This is also important. And so, I don't have any ideas myself, but how can you do this sort of low key?
In terms of, I think before we go into how, you know, make it reality, I'd like to kind of make the devil's advocate on that. So when we discuss archaeology, if we can, let's say Satarkuyuk or anything archaeology related, we rarely ever have music from ancient times. We don't know how the language sounded, or you know. So if we do ancient Greece, we might have some ideas of their music or some ideas of how the language was shared, but we don't know it. So how do you think it is feasible?
I think it is. I think it's feasible. I think, of course, with a living culture like Never Alone is portraying, that is much easier in a way, right? And
I think this is where archaeology can benefit, because, for instance, from archaeology you can recover, say, instruments. And there's been a lot of actually innovative projects in, say, 3D printing replicas of instruments, to then being able to play how they sounded without, you know, damaging the actual instruments. And that will give you a start of a sound.
I think that's where archaeology also needs to be more creative and more take a stance. Like, okay, maybe we don't really know what music was like in Chateaubriand, or even if there was such a thing as music in this time. I'm guessing yes, but sometimes you just need to take a leap, right? If you want to make things interesting and engaging, you have to provide this experience as well. And the last thing you want is some sort of semi-spiritual kind of. You need to put some thought and consideration into this as well. So that's, of course, one of the things that if you would ever start doing this, that's what you need to do. I would love to do a game like Never Alone in the Caribbean. It would be great, you know, just work together. But you don't even really unfortunately have very few living communities left there. But you know, it would be great to try and do the Guanahona origin narrative as a game or something like that.
Or the Kalinago.
Or the corridors of the Kalinago, they've got some great
stories. It's like, I suppose, for example, I thought, why there is a Gilgamesh game, but why nobody has tried to make a recent Gilgamesh game, or like a Kalevala game? Kalevala would provide amazing kind of lines which someone could narrate over and say all these heroes clashing and whatnot, or the prose. There are so many, like, it's something. We don't even have kind of philological games based on these kind of amazing myths and epics that we have.
And you could then, of course, scaffold those epics with a lot of archaeology, because it is there, right? You know, you have the actual narrative, but you also have all the archaeology to go with it. So
and that's the thing, like all the artifacts and everything, they can be included in the storytelling, and that's the perfect way, because with storytelling you can weave across the knowledge gaps. You know, you can sort of
And I think as archaeologists, we need to be a bit more bold with that, right? We need to sometimes
Oh yeah.
take those steps and just, you know, maybe we sort of indicated, just like in architecture, they indicate this part was reconstructed. Maybe there would be a nice way around that, but we need to be much more bold, especially now. You know, we talk to lots of the students, MAs, they're sort of in their big doubting phase, and there's some people just keep on hanging on to that for their whole lives, and they never ever want to sort of take a stand and put a story out there.
Yeah, because in the end, if you have, because on a certain part, video games are also art being made, so you have to actually do something decisive.
Sure, but I think the sort of the value, the creative part of writing even an article is really undervalued in science in general.
Yeah.
And even in a way, it's sort of stamped out by those cookie cutter kind of things that we do. But you know, if you write the best scientific books that you can read, maybe not articles because they're very short form, they always have a narrative going on in there. There's I mean, I'm not too sure about like physics or whatever, but I'm sure that the archaeological ethnographical books, they have a narrative. The ones that are most likely read, they have a narrative and a lot of facts to go with it. So
So do we want to end up on announcing our theme for next time?
yeah, I mean, unless there's any sort of bigger questions.
No, not really for now. If something comes up, I mean,
Yeah, all right.
So
Next time should be fun. Well, it's your pun. You go for it.
I don't think it works very well.
Verbs.
This is more a written thing, but for next time the focus will be on authenticity as portrayed in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed series.
Dibs on playing.
Dibs on playing. Yes, sure.
Shotgun.
You'll definitely play Black Flag.
I've played like 1 to point A to point B, so I'm really excited to playing another one in this. And I'll probably buy it afterwards myself to continue playing.
You can sink the ships. We can be critical.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can. Yeah.
And so this will be on the 13th of June, which is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose at the same hour.